Greetings and welcome to another Impressions video here at Words About Games, and today we're going to be looking at Earth Defense Force 5. This was my first foray into a game in the Earth Defense Force series, though I had heard of the game through reputation and from recommendations of people I know. As such, I was quite looking forward to jumping in when I learned that the 5th entry in the franchise would launch in the West at the end of this year. I can honestly say I was not prepared for the chaotic insanity that would follow. Earth Defense Force 5 is a third-person shooter with RPG elements that plants you firmly in the centre of a devastating alien invasion of Earth. You play a security guard and a military complex. After being shown around by the world's densest boss, you find yourself thrust right into the middle of an assault by hordes of giant insects that are literally falling from the sky. With no other choice, you'll need to pick up a gun and join the titular Earth Defense Force to try and help repel the otherworldly invasion. Earth Defense Force 5 is a mess. Don't misunderstand, I mean that in an endearing way, for the most part. To say that this game is all over the place would probably be a massive understatement, but this is a game that embraces how utterly insane it is, and doubles down on its craziness and B-movie quality, somehow emerging from the other side as one hell of an entertaining ride. The combat in Earth Defense Force 5 is competent. This is a third-person shooter that routinely throws hundreds of enemies at you at once, and there's something to be said about the ambition of scale this game offers. Your job is to put together a loadout of weapons and equipment and get to work eradicating the monsters about 100 at a time. It's honestly hard to tell how precise the aiming mechanics of the game are, considering no matter what direction you're firing, you're quite likely to hit something that's trying to kill you. This is backed up by a progression system that boasts an impressive amount of depth. Slain enemies drop weapon crates as well as health and armor. At the conclusion of each mission, you get to see what was in all the crates you collected, usually either new weapons or upgrades for the ones you currently own. You get to freely build your loadout from this impressive array of assault rifles, shotguns, rocket launchers, explosives, and more, easily able to experiment and tailor your character's gear to your own personal playstyle. Furthering this depth is the class system. As well as featuring class-specific weapons and equipment, different classes also have different combat styles and abilities, with the game allowing you to choose different classes between missions. Rangers, for example, are fairly standard soldiers that offer a more straightforward third-person shooter experience, whereas wing divers come equipped with a jetpack that adds verticality and mobility to your arsenal. Experimenting with the various classes and weapons that Earth Defense Force 5 has to offer is a major highlight of the game, with a steady stream of constant unlocks allowing you more options to play around with. Pretty much everything else about this game is janky, in one way or another. Graphical fidelity takes a backseat here, which is understandable given the number of enemies, particle effects, and the sheer amount that is happening on the screen at once. If this game had a graphical fidelity approaching what you'd expect from a modern PS4 game, it would probably cause consoles to spontaneously combust. It's a more than worthwhile trade-off, allowing, as it does, for the totally bonkers set pieces the game provides, but it's very noticeable in muddy textures and ugly environments, sparsely populated by anything other than hundreds of surprisingly detailed enemies. And then there's the rest of the presentation, which can be accurately described as a charmingly endearing mess. Much like the B-movies it draws obvious inspiration from, Earth Defense Force 5 features a campy story, cheesy dialogue, and truly terrible voice acting. And much like said B-movies, it works to create a hilariously entertaining final product. This is, after all, a game about an invasion by giant alien bugs that literally fall from the sky in their hundreds, and the soldiers who must destroy them all. Story, character, and dialogue take a backseat, and Earth Defense Force 5 leans into its B-movie inspirations to create a compellingly terrible and cliched plot to accompany its mindless yet fun alien eradication gameplay. Earth Defense Force 5 is a glorious mess. It's a fairly standard third-person shooter that throws you into a tsunami of bullets, explosions, and more enemies than you'll find in any other shooter, to the point where the term sensory overload loses all meaning. There's an impressive amount of depth to the game's classes and weapon progression, all wrapped up in an incredibly cheesy, campy story told by walking cliches with terrible dialogue and voice acting, with its tongue firmly placed in its cheek for the entire time I played it. It's also a damn good time, and I can honestly say that I had a smile on my face the entire time I was playing. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. If you've enjoyed it, please keep it here at Words About Games. We've got tons of content, including our weekly podcast, more impressions videos, patch notes, and our weekly indie game of the week. We also stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. and most importantly, have a great day.